Morocco's in a tug of war between interpretations of Islam and the demand for women's rights. Reform has come to this North African nation, but inheritance and divorce laws favour men, and child marriages and multiple wives, whilst increasingly rare, are still allowed by the state. Further reform has had the blessing of the king, but an angry backlash has stalled change. The rights of individuals are pitted against the demands of the family and Islamic law. Now, a new generation of women wants their voice heard in the debate. From the cultural capital, Marrakesh, this is World Questions, Young Women and Change. Welcome to Morocco, welcome to Marrakesh. Our panel here at Les Étoiles de Jemaa El Fna at the heart of the Medina is entirely made up of young women. Frizzy is a trailblazing rapper, singer and songwriter. She's 25 and grew up in the capital, Rabat. Her song, The Time Has Come, was the anthem for an equal rights campaign led by feminist groups in Morocco. Kautar Rais is also 25 years old and a student at the National School of Architecture in Tétouan in the far north of the country. She sits on the National Council of Student Renewal, which is an Islam-orientated student movement. Yusra Salih is a 26-year-old data engineer who works in Casablanca. She's a feminist digital content creator and a women's rights activist. And Dr. Maryam Redouane is a geologist and professor at Sidi Mohammed Ben Abdallah University. She is 30 with 2 children, and she's also head of the women's section of the International Islamic Federation of Student Organizations. She's come down to Marrakesh from the city of Fez. Your panel. Let's go straight to our first question, and it comes from Maryam Amina.
So my question is, do you think tradition in Morocco helps or hinder the progress of young women today? And how can we find a balance between preserving cultural identity and embracing development?
Thank you very much, Maryam. Thank you. Kautar Rais, your first thoughts.
So, hello everyone. I see that tradition must be something that reinforce women's in Morocco, based on the relation between religion and the tradition in Morocco. We are at the end an Islamic country. We have some general rules, but that doesn't stop women's to do what they want. At the end, everyone is have his freedom, but your freedom ends when my freedom starts. If everyone do whatever he wants, if every woman be wild, it's not gonna be something that give harmony to our society.
Thank you very much indeed. Frizzy, can I ask you, the question was about tradition in Morocco. Does it help or hinder the progress of young women today?
I would say tradition has always been a big part of our country culture, and I can tell that women has been hindered in the early ages, but nowadays we can actually define tradition more like a signature. It's like a blueprint, it's like a color for the country, rather than something that should limit the progression and the modernity of women's situation and the state in Morocco. So I think we're getting more aware that we shouldn't be letting such thing that has been put by our ancestors hinder what's going on and happening actually in 2026.
Thank you very much indeed. Yusra Salih.
That's actually a really good question. You know, we should preserve traditions because they do play a big role in identifying the culture of a country. But I do think that we should listen to women who come forward with their stories and tell us, I don't like this tradition, it harms me. And one example of that is Sirwel. When a couple is married, on the first night, we take out these pants that are stained in blood as a symbol of the virginity of a woman. And I do think that is deeply sexist, and I think that those kind of traditions should be left in the past. Now, hammams, I love hammams. I go to hammams all the time. And so, yeah, let's keep that one.
The hammam is the traditional bath here in,
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Morocco.
Yeah,
Public,
yeah.
public baths, indeed. Miriam Redouane.
So a part of our traditions actually empowers women and give more rights to the women long before the Western societies did for their women. So no, as a Moroccan, I can proudly say that traditions have been helpful to women, empowering women for decades. But we had some issues regarding these traditions, especially when they start misusing them. They can be men, they can be women themselves. Like, for example, a relationship between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. Real traditions, real Moroccan traditions, frame this or shape it in a very respectful way. However, women themselves choose to act differently and start making issues for their son, and then create some issues with the daughter-in-law, and hence the problems comes, and so the woman became the enemy of a woman. So it's not always a men's issue.
Thank you very much indeed. Can I ask our questioner, Miriam, what do you think about the situation in Morocco? Does tradition help or does it hold women back?
I ask this question because I have a lot of problems with the traditional in Morocco in my life, just because I'm a girl in Morocco, and I don't know, and the people in Morocco think woman, she is not free, okay? So I agree, Yusra. I have the same idea as she. The tradition there are a lot of things good in tradition, but there is a lot of things bad in tradition.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time today. Can I get thoughts from the audience on this question? Madam, first of all, if you would.
There is something about tradition that I'm not agree with. For example, there is something just for women, hshuma. It's a word you cannot translate in other language. It's like when you go with uncovered, like, for example, Yusra, if you walk outside and you know it.
Without a headscarf? Without a
no,
headscarf or
like
uncovered?
she is
with her
now.
arms uncovered?
Yeah, like
I see.
arms
Forgive me.
off.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's hshuma. It's not something you do. You are
Okay.
not a respectable woman. Even if you did studies, you work as a doctor, advocate, anything. It's called hshuma. But
Okay.
for men, it's not hshuma. I don't understand why tradition in Morocco are just for women sometimes, but not for men.
Thank
That's
you
it.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much for your time. Kauta, can I ask you about dress? It comes up quite a lot. The issue of why men can walk around with their arms bare or wearing shorts, but women are disapproved of when they walk like that. To some women, that is seen as taking their freedom away.
So, in my opinion, I see that the word that she said, hshuma, is something that we should not use only for women. About dress and also, there is limits for every gender. If you see a man with very shorts, you're gonna dislike it automatically. You're not gonna like it. Either you're progressist or not, you dislike it. So here you're gonna be hshuma. You're not gonna let your children sit with a boy like that.
Thank you very much indeed. Our next question comes from Aziza Dazizi.
Hi everyone. My name is Aziza and I work with a non-profit organization in rural areas in all around Morocco. There is a lot of child marriage cases. So because of the loopholes in the family code in the Article 19 and 20, when it gives the approval for a judge to say yes to a marriage of a young girl just because one of her parents, they want her to get married. So I believe that the family code must change and we must, like all of us, said no to child marriage with no exception.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you.
put that to our panel. Thank you very much, Aziza. Just a little bit of context there about child marriage. The law in Morocco has been progressively tightened it is still permitted by the state when a judge gives permission, and 14% of girls married in Morocco are married before their 18th birthday. 1% are married before their 15th birthday. Singer Frizzy, the questioner says, I believe the family code must be changed to stop this entirely. Do you agree?
I expected the question to be addressed to me. It automatically reminds me of a campaign that I contributed in. It's called Bghatha al-Waqt. I suppose you know about it. Yeah, I had the pleasure to be the artistic voice of this campaign. The story of this song is basically a young girl who grow up and find herself in different situations, frustrating situations. One of the situations is underage marriage. I rarely answer saying yes or no, black and white answers, but for the specific question, it's a hard no, and I am very much against underage marriage. I do see this as legal rape.
Thank you very much indeed. Meriam Redouan, academic and activist.
I always have issues with the limits. For example, why 18? Why we call underage someone who is 18? Because in the 1980s, the United Nations agreed on that. But why? Does it have to be the same for everyone? Everyone becomes adult, reaches the puberty at a certain age. We don't have the same age for that. And in that case, why should I stop someone who is 99 days from getting married? It's almost there. No, you can't marry today, but you can marry tomorrow. No, that makes no sense. We should try to see that the person who is involved in that marriage is willingly entering that marriage, and he's financially capable of, emotionally capable of, psychologically capable of getting married, and then why not?
Thank you very much indeed. Yusra Salhi, influencer. The question about amending the family code to outlaw child marriage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting that the rates for child marriage are actually a lot higher in rural areas. And if we're just trying to be real, which is your, memo, I guess, do we ever hear about underage boys getting married to women? It's really only about underage girls, little girls, kids who are girls. A lot of girls coming from rural areas only get married because there is a promise of a better life in the city. I do think that underage girls who are forced to get married to people under the promise of a better life are being raped of their childhood. That's what I think of it.
Thanks very much. Kautar Rias, the question is pretty blunt. Should child marriage be stopped entirely in Morocco?
Okay, so I may be a little bit extremist about that, because at the end, when we see you talk about rural areas, it's always economics problems that cause this marriage. In this situation, we can't really blame this marriage. They are looking for a good life, maybe, but if the man is wealthy, if not wealthy, it's if he's capable financially, if the woman can do the child woman can do what she should do. In the meantime, we say that a child of 15 has the freedom to wear whatever she wants.
Okay.
If she's grown up enough to decide what she wants to wear, where she wants to study, what she wants to study, why she can decide about her personal life.
Thank you very much indeed. Can we hear from the audience? Madam, over here. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Salma Ramadan. And if it was up to me, actually, I would make it illegal for a woman to get married before she has financial freedom and before she has a career. Because in our Moroccan society, if you go and see women problems, they usually get married because, like Yusra said, because of the economical problems. And she can't get out of a bad marriage, even if she's being abused or whatever, because she's dependent on the man. And Kautar, she said if a 15-year-old can decide what she wears, we should let her get married. And I don't think so, because kids usually don't think right. For example, sometimes they do drugs, they smoke, and we have to tell them, stop doing this, it's not right. So if she wants to get married, we should not let her because she's young. But instead, we should tell her, go study, go have a career, think about the future, be financially free before you actually get married.
Thank you very much indeed. Kautar, do you want to respond to what you heard?
Yeah, so about what you said, it's not really like that. At the end, we agree that kinda in Morocco, we started to normalize relation between boys and girls. So if we normalize that, we get at some consequences that maybe we dislike. For example, pregnancies out of marriage.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to move on to the next question, if I may. Thank you very much. And it comes from Baha Maryam.
Hello, everyone. My question is about inheritance. Inheritance is one of the inequalities we suffer from in our country. So when women and men have the same duty, so why do women get half of men?
Thank you very much indeed. Again, inheritance laws have been progressively reformed in Morocco. Now women receive half the inheritance that male siblings get. Female orphans without brothers have to share with male relatives that may be really quite distant. Has to be said, a survey in 2024 showed widespread support in Morocco for this system. Around 75% of people said they supported the current system of inheritance. Yusra Salhi, the system of inheritance, why do women get half of what men get, and what do you think of it?
I can tell you why, but I agree with your question. You know, we as women have the same duties. Actually, 1 in 6 women in Morocco are heads of families today in 2026. And so when we talk about this, usually the argument for it is that men usually head the family. Men are usually financially responsible for the family, and so therefore they deserve to have more money to spend from. But then when we actually look at reality, we do see that there are many, many women who are supporting their families. And so I don't understand the logic behind it. I think that it is definitely something that needs to be changed as soon as possible, because to me, at least, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Miriam Redouane, academic, activist. Can you explain it to us, and do you understand what justifies it?
Right after Yusra. Well, of course, for me, that is something that we can't even negotiate or discuss, because it is clear, stated in the Quran, and it's our holy book, so it's all in the books with every single detail. The man has always been, traditionally, the one who provides for the family, for the women, all women in the family. So in Islam, the whole thing makes the understanding. If you ignore one of the components, you cannot be arguing something as a result. Many practices around the inheritance have big issues and have big implications and repercussions on the society and on the families, and might result in injustice for the women. We agree on that. Yes, an uncle who is trying to kick out the daughter of his brother, for example, after his death, is something that is unforgivable, because he doesn't have dignity, he doesn't have the sense of humanity. So that's we agree on. But then we have to differentiate between the practice and the tradition. Okay. And the Islamic tradition and the Islamic law within the matter of the inheritance.
Well, as we are discussing Islam, you can hear the call to prayer echoing around the Medina as the light drops away here right in the heart of Marrakesh. Thank you very much for that. Singer Frizzy, the question there about why women get half of what men do, the defense, the explanation from Miriam was that this is derived from the Quran. What do you say?
Of course, totally, it is coming from the Quran. It's not something we came up with out of randomness. And it's putting me in such a frustrating position. I am Muslim, I am a believer, I don't practice that much, and I hardly relate to the situation. I have never been put in a situation where I am unfairly inheriting or seeing one of my family member inheriting. I do respect what my Quran and my religion came with, but at the same time, I do believe that there are some things that should be progressing in parallel with the current situation and the current times.
Thank you.
We can't be we can't be asked to do the same duty and get half the rights.
Thank you very much indeed. Kuta Rias, student and activist. Is there, in your eyes, space for interpretation, space for reform, and keeping within the laws and the traditions laid out in the Quran, or is this as hard and fast as some people suggest?
So, first, as Mariam said, it's in the Quran. So, basically, we can discuss that. But in the same time, if I see it in my eyes as a new generation, when we talk about two people engaged, dating, we see that a woman won't accept 50-50 in a dinner. So she thinks that man should provide. He should provide in dates, he should provide in rent, he should provide in everything. Before that, the girl or the woman, when she is with her parents, she's never asked to work or to get money to home.
I want to hear from the audience on this. I know that so many people think about it a lot. Madam, directly over there.
Hi everyone, my name is Asma Foua. In our today's world, it's men don't provide anymore. That's why people find inheritance, it's something that isn't balanced between men and female. So for us as a female, we found it that it's unfair because men in our today's world they don't provide anymore as they used to.
Thank you very much indeed. In the front row, the lady there. Yes, if you would, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you.
العربية.
You're going to speak in Arabic, fine.
غادي نعطي تعليق على الإرث. بالنسبة للرجل علاش هو تيدي الحصة الأكثر في الإرث. تنعرفوا بأن الرجل تيكون عنده مسؤولية، تيكون عنده هو الحيز الأكبر في أنه يصرف على ديك الأسرة.
Thank you very much. Just the lady on the edge there, that's right.
Hi everyone, my name is Warda Bouy. Nowadays, like the financial leadership that we used to see in men back then is not it's not there anymore. So we see women trying to find jobs for themselves, trying to support their families. So the reason of why men should get double what women are getting, it shouldn't be reasonable any longer, because a woman now is the one who's supporting the family. So what I think personally is that we should be treating this as a case-by-case thing.
Thank you very much indeed. And the lady here? Yes, to the lady.
In Quran, we also have testaments. So we don't just have ta'sib. We have testaments. Why do we choose ta'sib? And in ta'sib in Quran, you have that, as you said, the man should be the provider. You have some inheritance that you have just daughters and you have the uncle. He take the money and the daughter will never again see the uncle. Who will protect these girls? Mm-hmm. So if we want to apply the Quran, mm-hmm. it should not be in a patriarchal way. So in the law, we should have, if the man take the money and don't provide, he need to be punished.
Briefly, very briefly.
Okay, so the first thing is, yes, I totally agree that women who have been wronged by the practices of men regarding the inheritance should be punished. That's totally, we have to agree with this, because God, when he decided for each one his portion, he did it very fairly. So that justice should be demanded and should be applied. Now, if we want to talk about something else, it is about the manhood of the man. Okay. And we have to push the man to retrieve back his manhood, not to let the woman be the man and the woman. Ew, dear woman, let's make the man again. And the girl should be the kind one she wants to be.
And I'm afraid that's it for World Questions Morocco, Young Women and Change. A big thank you to this month's panel. Thanks also to all our wonderful questioners and the contributors to our debate here at the Les Étoiles de Jama El Fna in the heart of the Medina. And of course, thanks to everyone watching around the world.